Ready.
ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين.
Bismillahi Rahmani Rahim. Bismillahi wa salatu salamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, girls. And welcome back to our second session on Jewels of Surah Ar-Rahman. Surah Ar-Rahman is a surah, a very, very unique surah that, alhamdulillah, this is from the fadl from Allah, that we have been blessed to be doing this surah in the month of Ramadan. This surah explains all about what? What Arabic word do you think we're even talking about? Rahmah, mercy, right? And this surah, it's so unique for two reasons. Number one reason is that it starts off, the name of the surah itself has Allah Azza wa Jal's name, Ar-Rahman, right? Surah Ar-Rahman. And it starts off with that surah name as well. So it doesn't start with any other ayah except for Ar-Rahman. Just only for us to understand and for Allah Azza wa Jal to emphasize on the point that He Azza wa Jal is truly Ar-Rahman, right? So now there are two surahs that start with Allah's name, Surah Ar-Rahman and Surah Al-A'la. But if you notice, Surah Al-A'la does not start with Al-A'la. What does Surah Al-A'la start with? سَبِّحِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ الْأَعْلَى. So you can even see in this as well, yes, there is something common between the two, which is that the name of the surah is of Allah's names. And these are the only two surahs that have Allah Azza wa Jall's name in it. But the more unique part of Surah Ar-Rahman is that it also starts with Ar-Rahman, right? So today, inshallah, first what we're going to do is read the surah. We've broken it down. Last class, we broke it down into parts, right? From what ayah to what ayah and what does it talk about? And then we're going into a little bit more detail. So we talked about ayahs number 1 all the way to 13 talk about what? All of the apparent blessings that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us. So now we're going to repeat ayahs 1 to 13. We're going to go over it, read it out loud together, and then inshallah, we're going to go into more detail on the recap that we did, along with the new ayahs that we're going to take, inshallah. Okay, so a suggestion is that for you girls to go ahead and open up your own Quran, to have that, special bond while you're reading your own Quran. But of course, we've got it on the screen as well. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. So this is from ayahs 1 all the way to ayah number 13. And the reason why I stopped over here was, once again, we're taking this surah and we're dividing this surah into parts of what Allah is talking to us about. So from ayah 1 all the way to 13, it will be about all the apparent blessings that Allah has told us about. Now last class, we've taken from ayahs 1 all the way to 5. So a quick recap of 1 to 5. We talked about Ar-Rahman, Allah's mercy, Allama al-Quran, how He has taught us the Quran, right? So before, when we talked about how Allah taught us the Quran, again, it's not just about that He is giving us a teacher to teach us the Quran. It's about the fact that He has also given us the opportunity to learn the Quran, whether it be at home, whether it be at an institute, wherever it is, right? So that's just a reminder that that is what Allah Azza wa Jal has blessed us with, and it is because of His mercy. It's through His mercy that He has given us this, right? So we have now talked about. All right, let me just get this out once more. All right, so we've talked about how Allah Ar-Rahman has not only Allama al-Quran, but خلق الإنسان. So what is خلق الإنسان? Our existence, our mere existence is truly from the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal, nothing else, right? So that in itself is a reminder that when what we've been created is also a blessing. And that's why another unique point that I want you girls to ponder upon is, in this surah, what ayah is mentioned the most? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ? And which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? And girls, this is a reminder that when Allah Azza wa Jal mentions فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, it's not for us to think that, oh, because it sounds nice in the Quran, that's why Allah put it there. Each and every فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ has its own special significance of why Allah Azza wa Jal put this ayah in here, right? And that is something that we're going to take. So let's go back to what we covered from ayahs 1 to 5. We talked about the blessing of our existence, right? خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانِ. Then we talked about عَلَّمَهُ الْبَيَانِ. Also, the fact that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us the skill, right? The skill to talk, to write, to understand the Quran, right? عَلَّمَهُ الْبَيَانِ. And then الشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ بِحُسْبَانِ. And this is not from the mercy and blessing of Allah that الشَّمْس, the sun, وَالْقَمَرُ, right? The moon are what? They're followed. الشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ بِحُسْبَانِ, with the hisab. And what do I mean by hisab? It's followed by a calculated path, right? Think of بِحُسْبَانِ, from calculated path. And what do I mean by that? That there is a certain amount, a very, very calculated amount of time the sun is out. And a very, 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 very calculated amount of time the moon is out. And neither of them clash within each other. And subhanAllah, again, Ramadan in itself is a reminder for us to see that if in any way there was a clash between the sun and the moon rising, would we not be so confused of when to break our fast? Subhanallah, that again is Allah Azza wa Jal's mercy, that He takes care of us, that He is Ar-Rahman, and that He knows that yes, we are fasting those long hours, but He will set that, okay, now the sun, it is time for you to set, and for the moon to rise. For all Muslimin all around the world, it is now time for you to break your fast. It is now time for you to stop eating. Subhanallah, Islam is very, very calculative, right? Very, very precise and calculative, and to make sure that in no way will it create any chaos, will it create any commotion, right? Subhanallah, and that just shows the beauty of what our religion is. And then it always brings us back to that, alhamdulillah, we are blessed to be Muslims. We are blessed to be following this path of Islam that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us, that in our hearts we say La ilaha illallah, right? So now we're going to continue on. So we've talked about ayahs all the way 1 to 5, and now we're going to go on to ayah number 6. وَالنَّجْمُ وَالشَّجَرُ يَسْجُدَانِ وَالنَّجْمُ وَالشَّجَرُ يَسْجُدَانِ. All right, so an-najm in Arabic, an-nujum, it means stars. But an-najm, one najm is one star. So if you girls have been, even reciting the Quran, you know that there's also a surah, Surah Ar-Najm, right? So one najm, wash-shajaru yasjudan. That one star, what has Allah done with that star? He has allowed that star to prostrate in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, right? One najmu, wash-shajaru yasjudan. The stars and the plants, ash-shajar, what do? Sujud. They do sujud, yasjudan. So let's first take a look at the stars, okay? And again, girls, I want you to look at everything that we've mentioned so far. We've mentioned about our existence. We've mentioned about the Quran. We've mentioned about just a saying, right? Saying the Quran, writing the Quran. We've mentioned about ash-shams, right? We've mentioned about al-qamar, the sun, the moon, right? 5 ayahs, we mentioned 5 things. And all of it goes under Ar-Rahman. All of it comes under Ar-Rahman. And now we're going to continue on with the stars. One najm, wash-shajaru yasjudan. So the stars. Now think about it. Again, these are all under the title of apparent blessings. Allah's apparent blessings. So what is the blessing of the stars? Why do we have the stars? What is the existence of the stars? Is it for us to go ahead and tell the constellations that, oh, this is Orion's belt, and oh, this is, all the other galaxies and stars, the names of them, right? Or is it for us to understand that the star is actually our guide? Our guide how? It's a guide for the travelers, right? Stars are a guide for the travelers. So if in the pitch dark, a traveler is going through, no phone service at all, he is going to follow through with the stars. That the stars also beautify the sky. When we look up at the sky, don't you feel that peace, that serenity, right? When you just look up and you see, wow, how clear is the sky tonight, right? There is some strange yet beautiful way that when you look at the sky, it's dark, but yet it's not dark, right? It's like a different color on its own. That in itself is a reminder for us to look, to appreciate. Allah huwa al-jameel, right? Wa yuhibbul jamal. Allah is al-jameel, and He loves beauty. So, subhanAllah, it's not the fact that Allah could have easily been like, okay, you know what? Place the stars randomly, various colors, bright orange, bright yellow, and here we go. It sounds really strange, right? But yet, when you really go deep into it, you will know that the color schemes that Allah Azza wa Jal has set out for us is truly because Allah huwa al-jameel. He truly loves beauty, right? He is beautiful and He loves beauty. So the benefit of the stars, we said, is that it guides the travelers. The fact that it beautifies the sky. And let's talk about those shooting stars now, right? We're not going to say shooting star, well, let's wish upon a star, right? No, right? That's not what our belief is. In fact, it's the fact that when we see a shooting star, it's a reminder that it is Shaitan who was trying to listen to a conversation between Allah Azza wa Jal and the angels. And then what did that shooting star do? It was a way to protect those words that Allah Azza wa Jal and the angels were having and keep the Shaitan away. And that is an authentic source. That is the reason why the shooting star, that is why we see it. Not for us, oh, we see the shooting star, let's wish upon a star. Let's make a wish, right? Because for sure it'll come true, and don't tell anyone your wishes. SubhanAllah, we treat stars in a completely opposite manner. We're busy telling our astrological signs, right? We base off our, like, should we, when they say the stars are aligned, or the stars, our fate, it wasn't written in the sky for us, right? All of these things, we have to come back to what our belief is, that we believe in the qadr. We believe in what Allah has told us, but we do not believe in these things, because in the end, girls, do you know what this actually is? The fact that when we look at any astrological sign and be like, oh, okay, so if you were born here, or if you look at this sign, this star, and you're able to see this, or this is what happened during this month, then what? What is all of that? Shirk. What is shirk? Shirk is basically associating, meaning putting a partner with Allah Azza wa Jal. So now imagine, we might not be doing like worshipping idols, but at the same time, what are we doing? We're telling people, or we also are following the stars and worshiping the stars in such a manner that we know that, okay, if I follow this star, or if I look at the monthly calendar and I'll be like, okay, if this star is going to come out on this, the constellations, then I'm going to be lucky, right? Everything, it's a reminder that everything is only and only according to the will and decree of Allah. And that is what our faith is. And if we do not have firm faith in this, if we do not have firm belief in this, then what are we technically doing? We are truly doing shirk. So shirk is very, very tricky. It is actually something that if you go into detail, you'll ask yourself, hold on a second, am I doing shirk? Right? Shirk, we automatically think that, oh, it has to be like a physical statue or a physical person. No, it doesn't. Even our thoughts make a difference of what we're doing. Are we idolizing someone, right? Are we following those horoscopes and those astrological signs, going to those fortune tellers, right? It's such a norm nowadays. But girls, this is where we have to come back to what our faith is, because at the end of the day, this is the beauty of Islam, for us to be reminded that what the stars actually signify. Now let's go to the plants. So we said the blessing of the stars. Now let's go to the blessing of the plants. What is the blessing of a shajaru? So one najmu washajaru yasjudan. What is the blessing of a shajar? The blessing of a shajar is the fact, number one, we have oxygen, right? We have oxygen from these plants, because that is what's going to purify the air around us, subhanAllah. Plants are a source for our food, are they not? If plants did not exist, how would we get a lot of our main source of food? And now, more than anything, I feel like now we truly are realizing the understanding and true meaning of plant-based foods, plant-derived foods, right? Because we would rather go vegan as opposed to have any food related that was animal, even though it may be halal, it may be not, but we would prefer those plant-based foods. Why? Because we know it's healthier. We know that it will cleanse our body, right? It will detoxify our body, right? So it just comes back to the reminder that when we're talking about detoxification and we look at that, protein powder, or, we look at those, the food that we eat, where was its original source? That's what we have to think about. Where was its original source? From a plant. Well, where did the plant come from? And that is another apparent blessing, that if we see this, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, that when we see these stars and when we see these plants, truly we cannot deny the favors of Allah. We truly cannot deny these favors, subhanAllah. Girls, it is amazing how the Quran truly opens up our way of thinking. It opens up our intellect, our aql, right? We hear, we see, we watch TikToks. We are always on, we're on our Insta lives. We're just mindlessly scrolling on our timelines, right? whether it's on Instagram, whether it's, checking out those snaps. But reading the Quran, and not just reading it, but the tadabbur, pondering and reflecting on the Quran, there is a different world out there. And it opens up your mind and it opens up your intellect. And you're just like, wow, if only I thought about this, will I actually understand and realize, subhanAllah, right? So now we've talked about the plants and the benefits of the plants, right? Now think about, don't you see the mercy of why we have those plants and why we have those stars? And it comes back to Allah, the first ayah, Ar-Rahman, right? Now, why sujood? Now the question is, why did Allah Azza wa Jal mention yasjudan? Why not yarka'an? Why? Why not ruku'? Why not qiyam? Why sujood? Because sujood in itself, it tells you that Allah Azza wa Jal is completely asking everything in this world to submit themselves to Allah. What do I mean by that? I mean that everything, all creations are submitting themselves, and not just submitting themselves, they are literally lowering themselves out of humbleness, because Allah huwa al-malikul mulk, right? Maliki yawmiddin. That Allah is al-malik for the day of judgment. It brings us a little bit of that fear, but at the same time, that love, that one najm, was shajuru. That najm and the shajar is not for Allah. Allah Azza wa Jal did not need any of this, but instead it is for us. One najm, was shajuru yasjudan. So that shows us that He created the stars, He created the plants for them to do sujood, right? For them to do sujood, but at the same time, the hidden meaning in najm and shajar is that they're actually blessings for us. They're blessings for each and every one of you. It's not just for your parents. It's not just for, the travelers. It's not for just those who are on the, only vegetarian diet. It's for all of us. And that's what Surah Ar-Rahman is telling us. The mercy of Allah. Now we go on to وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعَهَا وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ, right? وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعَهَا وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ. What does that ayah mean? It means the fact that Allah Azza wa Jal has created, He has created what? The heaven, and He has raised it high, and He has set up the balance. وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعَهَا وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ. Now let's go into a little bit more detail on this one now. What do I mean by the fact that He has raised the sky? Think about it. Why is the sky not down here? Why is the sky not here? Why is the sky up there? And even the sky itself, there are 7 heavens of where Allah Azza wa Jal is above the 7 heavens. So He's raised the sky that high. وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعَهَا وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ. And He has put a balance in society, in everything. There is a balance. The sun and the moon, there is a balance, right? For the stars, there is a balance. For the plants, there is a balance. For the sky, the distance between the sky and the earth, there is a balance, right? وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ. And in general, in everything, there is a balance. Islam is all about balance. Islam is all about moderation. It's about having a balanced life. It's about living your life in a very balanced way. The only thing is for us to take this. We have to remind ourselves that in no way is this dunya for us to only have fun, for us to only do whatever we want without any consequences. It's a reminder that this dunya is truly about living a balanced life. It's about, if you do good, right? If you do good, you will be recompensed for that. And if you do anything wrong, you will also be recompensed for that. And what do I mean by that? That if you do good, that you will be rewarded based on that, even if it's a little bit. And if you do something wrong, unless you make istighfar, unless you sincerely ask Allah to help you, then that you will also be answerable for even the little bit, for a little bit of pain you caused someone. You hurt someone's feelings. You said something that came out of your mouth that was really rude and hurtful, but it came out, right? The thoughts of what anything that you wanted to do, all of this, you will be asked about it. So this is, again, that shows us that the Quran also tells us about our way of life. And this is something on a side note, girls, and this is what shows us the importance of the Quran al-Kareem. The Quran is not just a book where we open it in Ramadan, read it, and then put it away. It is our life. It is our entire life. We are following the Quran. And every single ayah is meant and it's relevant for us, right? So when we look at it, and this is Allah's way of opening the Quran for us in this month of Ramadan, the month of Quran, this is an immense mercy from Allah for us to be doing this surah in this month, right? So coming back to the fact that Allah Azza wa Jal has what? He has raised the sky. He has put it up there, right? Where we don't see that invisible pillar that is holding up the sky. But there is. Because if there was no invisible pillar, the sky would have been down there, right? And He placed a scale, mizan, which just shows that precision and that preciseness, that this is the mizan, this is the balance. Now, I do want to mention, balance also means our Sharia rules, our legislation, the rules of Islam. Girls, we sometimes feel that Islam is only about rules, about we have to wear hijab, we are not allowed to talk to boys, we are not allowed to watch anything inappropriate, we are not allowed to listen to music, we are not allowed to wear any inappropriate clothes, we have to keep our bodies covered. We always think about do's and don'ts and do's and don'ts, right? But that is not what Islam is. But yes, it is a part of Islam. We cannot neglect it. We cannot push it away completely, but it is not the only thing that Islam is about. And this surah shows us that, because if it was only about do's and don'ts, then this ayah about mizan, about that balance, would have come in the beginning. But instead, the first ayah that we see is Ar-Rahman. Why do we see Ar-Rahman? Because it's a reminder that Allah Azza wa Jal is the most merciful, and He's the most merciful on everyone. And we have to truly, truly keep reminding ourselves this, right? We have to constantly keep talking to ourselves and telling us that Allah Azza wa Jal is truly Ar-Rahman. So, just like we have different rules, different ways, in every household, they've got their own house rules. In every school, their school rules. In every institute, every organization, there has to be a rule. In Islam, there are rules too. But those rules are not to make our life difficult, but instead it is for us to make our lives easier, because it's because of these rules that our life will be so much easier. And it's through the rahmah, through the mercy of Allah, that He put these rules in our life. SubhanAllah, right? So it's the rules that Allah Azza wa Jal has told us about. It's the rules and the rights between people. It's between the rights of our parents, the rights of our friends, the rights of our neighbors, the rights of our community, the rights of the masjid, the rights of our school, of our teachers, the rights of yourself, the rights of your sibling. Subhanallah, the number of relationships. And what do we need to do? We need to find that balance, right? So inshallah, this is where we're going to stop. We took 2 ayahs, ayah number 6 and ayah number 7. We talked about the stars, we talked about the plants, we talked about how they do sujood and why do they do sujood. And now we talked about how Allah Azza wa Jal raised the sky and everything. Again, these are all the apparent blessings. And we've only named just a few. We've only named a few of those apparent blessings. There's way more out there, girls. Imagine. So then, we haven't even reached to the ayah number 13, but I do want to mention it. So then, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. So then, which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? What blessings will you deny? We've only reached just a few of the blessings. How can we deny it? We can't. It's right there. It's right in front of our face. And we just have to realize it, right? All right, inshallah. So we're going to end here. Jazakallah khair for tuning in. The Surah Ar-Rahman, we're doing it every Monday and every Wednesday, inshallah. And tomorrow, inshallah, we will be doing the gems of Surah Al-Fatiha based on the names of Allah Azza wa Jal. Jazakallah khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما